Every day is the same for me. Although diabetes has become an epidemic over the past few years, it is often accompanied by a lot of ignorance. So I started by asking my friends what they knew about diabetes, because I wanted to get an understanding of what was causing these misconceptions and this ignorance.
I don't really know. I know you need insulin. You don't have enough insulin to eat. It has something to do with that. I'm thinking.
I don't really know.
Diabetes is, I think, when your blood sugar is either too low or too high.
I'm not entirely sure. I just know there's a type A or B or 1 or 2.
I know one of them is when you're like kind of fat, so you need to eat less sugars and stuff.
One is when you're overweight, and that one like you can get rid of.
The other one is like when you're not fat, but you still can't have that much sugar, or maybe you need more sugar. I don't really know.
The other one you're born with.
I know it's a disorder. I know there's type 1 and type 2. Type 1 you get when without control, but I know type 2 you have control over it, I think.
My main goal for this video is to dispel common misconceptions about diabetes and to inform people about what it truly is. Diabetes is a disease that requires constant management. There's never a second of the day that I'm not thinking what my blood sugar might be, and it kind of gets in the way sometimes. And only until just recently was there any technology invented to help diabetics manage their diabetes. For the majority of my childhood, I had to use syringes, which are shots, to get insulin into my body. The insulin that would help me digest food and process the glucose in my bloodstream. So I just successfully put on my pump site. All I have to do now is fill up this reservoir with insulin and then put it back into my pump. The continuous glucose monitor that I use is the first and only monitor that sends readings directly to my iPhone. These readings are sent every 5 minutes and they let me see instantly if my levels are heading up, down, or leveling off. This is incredibly useful because now I don't have to take my tester with me everywhere I go and test constantly just to determine what my blood sugars are. Instead I could just take out my phone, look at it, it's quick and doesn't draw too much attention. The only thing that's a little less than convenient is the maintenance aspect. I'm required to change my sensor every 1 to 2 weeks. The best results come when I change it every week, in my experience. To put on my sensor, this is what I have to do. On the applicator barrel, the white plunger inserts the needle and sensor under your skin. When the collar is pulled back completely, the needle is removed and the small flexible sensor, which is used to monitor your blood sugars, remains under your skin. Every day I bring a Snapple to school because it's my pick-me-up in case I ever go low. Every Snapple has about 50 carbs in it, and each time I'm low, it's suggested that I take 15 carbs. And juice is usually the best option because it's fast-acting, but sometimes if I want my blood sugar to stay up instead of dropping again, which often happens right when taking fast-acting, I'm supposed to take a slow-acting sugar, which you can find in granola bars. And that usually keeps my blood sugar maintained for the time being. Yeah, obviously it gets annoying carrying around a Snapple. What happens if I don't want to bring a bag with me? Don't really have that option. But it tastes good, even though sometimes after drinking it for a really long time, it's easy to develop a taste aversion. I just got really hungry, so I've decided to make myself nachos at 10:10. If I wanted to eat candy, I could do that as well. People often believe that diabetics are not allowed to eat sugar, but the truth is I can eat whatever I want. I am no different than anyone else. As long as I bolus the necessary amount of insulin to cover what I am eating, there are no limits to what I can or cannot eat. Like everyone else, in order for me to be healthy, it is important to have a balanced diet. And for diabetics, especially, that is one that is high in fiber and low in saturated fats and simple sugars. There's a common misconception that just because I have diabetes means that I'd rather have unhealthy food as opposed to healthy food, but that is entirely false. In fact, I'd much rather have the healthy fruit I'm showing you now than the unhealthy candy I showed you before. But I'm not saying I'd turn this down if I was offered it. So I just made myself this wrap, and I'd say it's about 30 carbs. I'm approximating. I tested and I was 97. And then I'm putting 30. And it automatically calculates. See, it says 3.7 units. And that's what I'm going to be giving myself for this meal. Just tested 136. Now what I gotta do is change this because it's at 1. And what that means is there are only 6 needles in each of these. So you have to change it. So it's clean. And I have to test around 4 to 5 times every day. So I'm changing this constantly. I just checked my sensor and my blood sugar is said to be 218. So I'm about to bolus. It's 8:21 p.m. .1 units I'm supposed to get. That's a glimpse into my life as a type 1 diabetic. Diabetes is a huge responsibility, and although it's been very inconvenient for me and made me different than my friends, it's made me more independent, and at least it's manageable.